Have you ever questioned the potential danger embedded in devotion? If not, this video is a must-watch, dear friend. Devotion. This seemingly noble trait can, if unchecked, become a double-edged sword, capable of cutting deep into the fabric of our lives. Devotion, while often seen as a virtue, can lead to obsession, erode boundaries, foster unhealthy dependencies, and result in the sacrifice of self. Inevitably, it can set us up for profound disappointment. Let us delve deep into these dangers and understand why it is crucial to be mindful of them. Firstly, we explore the danger of obsession and loss of balance. Devotion, a noble trait, can indeed morph into an unhealthy obsession if not checked. Picture a scale perfectly balanced, representing your life. Now imagine placing a heavy weight, signifying an obsessive devotion, on one side. The scale tips, doesn't it? That's your life, thrown off balance. This imbalance can lead to a dangerous neglect of other important aspects of life, such as relationships, health, and personal growth. It's like trying to walk in a straight line while only leaning to one side. You're bound to stumble. Maintaining balance in life is similar to walking on a tightrope. It requires constant attention, adjustments, and, most importantly, the ability to distribute your weight evenly, symbolizing your passions and commitments. When devotion becomes obsession, it's like adding more weight on one side of the tightrope walker's pole, leading to a catastrophic fall. Balancing our devotions with other aspects of life is critical to maintaining our emotional and mental health. Next, we venture into the erosion of boundaries. When devotion tips into obsession, one of the first casualties can often be our personal boundaries. You see, maintaining a healthy balance in life requires us to establish clear lines of what is and isn't acceptable for our well-being. But when excessive devotion takes the wheel, it can drive us to blur or even erase those lines. We may find ourselves tolerating behaviors, actions, or situations that we would usually deem unacceptable. This erosion of boundaries can lead to a multitude of issues, from strained relationships to compromised mental health. This is why it's crucial to remember that devotion, while admirable, should never come at the cost of your personal boundaries. These boundaries protect your mental and emotional health, ensuring that your devotion doesn't turn into self-destruction. Remember, your boundaries are sacred, and preserving them should never be compromised by your devotions. Now let's turn our attention to the perils of dependency. A crucial matter indeed. When devotion transforms into an extreme, it can foster a sense of dependency that's far from healthy. Imagine being a vine, clinging so tightly to the tree that you forget how to stand on your own. That's the danger we're discussing. This dependency can lead to a lack of self-sufficiency, and before you know it, you're entangled in a toxic dynamic where you're constantly leaning on someone or something else for support. It's like trying to sail a ship without ever learning how to navigate the waters. You become lost at sea, completely reliant on the wind's whims. But we must remember, we are not helpless vines or rudderless ships. We are capable beings, each with our own strengths and abilities. The value of independence and self-reliance cannot be stressed enough. Devotion is admirable, but it should never rob you of your independence or self-reliance. Lastly, we confront the sacrifice of self and the inevitability of disappointment. It's an all too common story. A person throws their whole being into a cause, a person, a passion, only to find themselves emptied of their own identity. They've sacrificed their wants, their needs, their aspirations on the altar of devotion. They've lost themselves in the labyrinth of another's world. This sacrifice might seem noble, even heroic at first, but the cost is high. In giving up our own desires, we often find a void that the object of our devotion cannot fill. Our happiness, once tied to our personal fulfillment, is now tethered to something outside of ourselves, something we can't control. And that's when disappointment creeps in. It's inevitable, really. When we place our joy in the hands of others or external circumstances, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Because the world is unpredictable, people change, circumstances shift, and when they do, the foundation of our happiness crumbles. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. Sacrifice and disappointment aren't inherent to devotion. They're the result of unbalanced, unchecked devotion. True devotion doesn't require the annihilation of self. It asks for balance, for boundaries, for a sense of self that remains intact even in the face of deep commitment. In the end, it's about understanding that devotion, while noble, has its potential pitfalls. It's about finding the balance, maintaining your boundaries, preserving your independence, and not losing yourself in the process.